If you're over 60 and you enjoy eggs for breakfast, you've probably heard something at some point that made you stop and second-guess yourself. Maybe a friend warned you to cut back. Maybe you saw a headline online that made eggs sound dangerous. Maybe your doctor mentioned cholesterol during a checkup, and suddenly that simple, familiar breakfast started to feel like something you shouldn't be enjoying. I want you to take a slow breath right now, because today we are going to clear all of that up, calmly, honestly, and with real science behind every single word. Here's something most people your age don't realize. The conversation around eggs and heart health has shifted dramatically over the last 20 years. What we were confidently told back in the 1980s and 1990s is simply not what the current research is saying. And if you are still making your daily food decisions based on that old information, you may be missing out on one of the most affordable, most nourishing, and most complete foods available to you right now. So let's take our time today and really walk through this together, because you deserve a clear answer, not more confusion. Let's start with why eggs matter so much specifically after the age of 60, because this is where the story gets really important. As we get older, the body goes through some very real and very significant changes. Muscle mass begins to decline, slowly, quietly, often without us noticing, until we feel a little weaker climbing stairs or carrying groceries. Bone density can decrease. The brain needs increasing support to stay sharp and focused. Energy levels shift in ways that can feel discouraging. And one of the most powerful things your body needs to push back against all of these changes is high-quality protein, and not just a little of it, but a consistent, reliable amount every single day. This is exactly where eggs become so valuable. A single large egg contains approximately 6 grams of complete protein. And when we say complete, that is not just a casual word. It means the egg contains all 9 essential amino acids that your body cannot manufacture on its own and must get from food. For someone over 60, meeting your daily protein needs is not a luxury or something to think about later. Research suggests that older adults actually require more protein per pound of body weight than younger people do, precisely because the aging body becomes less efficient at processing and using protein. Eggs are one of the simplest, most digestible, and most bioavailable sources of that protein you will ever find. Now here's the interesting part, and this is where decades of confusion really took hold. For a long time, eggs were blamed for raising cholesterol and increasing the risk of heart disease. That fear grew out of early research that looked at dietary cholesterol, the cholesterol present in the food you eat, and made the assumption that it directly and significantly raised the cholesterol circulating in your blood. It was a reasonable hypothesis at the time, but more recent, more thorough, and more carefully conducted studies have painted a very different picture. For most healthy people, the cholesterol in whole eggs does not meaningfully raise harmful LDL cholesterol levels in the blood. What actually poses the greater risk is saturated fat and trans fat, the kinds found in heavily processed foods, deep-fried items, and certain red meats. Eggs, eaten on their own as part of a balanced diet, are simply not the problem they were once believed to be. So how many eggs should you actually be eating after 60? For most healthy older adults, 1 to 2 eggs per day is what current evidence supports as both safe and genuinely beneficial. Some well-designed studies have followed people consuming up to 12 eggs per week and found no meaningful increase in cardiovascular risk among otherwise healthy individuals. Doctors often recommend beginning with 1 egg daily, watching how your energy and digestion respond, and adjusting from there, especially if you haven't had recent blood work done to check your cholesterol and overall metabolic health. Now, this might surprise you, but the way you prepare your egg matters nearly as much as how many you eat. A soft-boiled egg or a poached egg preserves all of the nutritional value while adding no extra fat whatsoever. Scrambled eggs prepared with a small drizzle of olive oil are a genuinely healthy and satisfying option. Where things can quietly go wrong is when eggs are fried in large amounts of butter every single morning, or when they are served alongside processed meats like bacon, sausage, or ham on a regular basis. In many cases, it is not the egg causing concern. It is everything surrounding it on the plate. I know this can feel frustrating. You have been given so many conflicting messages over the years, sometimes from sources you trusted. One decade eggs are dangerous. The next decade, they are a superfood. But here is what the current body of evidence consistently and clearly shows. Eggs, eaten in reasonable amounts as part of a thoughtful, balanced diet, offer real and meaningful benefits for people over 60 that are genuinely difficult to replicate with any other single food at the same cost and convenience. Imagine waking up every morning feeling a little stronger than the day before. Imagine having the energy to take that walk, to play with your grandchildren, to get through your day without that heavy, dragging tiredness that so many people over 60 have simply accepted as normal. That kind of vitality doesn't come from expensive supplements or complicated diets. Sometimes it comes from the simplest things, like what you put on your plate at breakfast. Let's spend a moment on those benefits, because they go well beyond protein and deserve your full attention. Eggs are one of the very few natural food sources of vitamin D that exist in the everyday diet. Vitamin D is critical for maintaining bone strength, supporting immune function, and regulating mood. Three things that become increasingly important and increasingly fragile as we move through our 60s and beyond. Many older adults are quietly deficient in vitamin D without any obvious symptoms, and adding 1 or 2 eggs to the daily routine is a gentle, natural, and effective way to help support those levels. Eggs are also an excellent source of vitamin B12, a nutrient that supports healthy nerve function, helps maintain energy, and plays a meaningful role in keeping the mind clear and focused. Studies have found that B12 deficiency becomes significantly more common in older adults, partly because the stomach produces less acid with age, making it harder to absorb B12 from food. Fatigue, mild memory lapses, and a low mood can all be quiet signs of declining B12. Getting it through whole food sources like eggs is one of the most natural and well-tolerated approaches available. And then there is choline, a nutrient that most people have genuinely never heard of, but one that researchers now believe plays a critical role in brain health, memory consolidation, and even liver function. Think of choline as a kind of quiet maintenance crew working inside your brain every single day, keeping connections strong, helping you recall names and faces, supporting the kind of mental sharpness that makes daily life feel manageable and enjoyable. Eggs are one of the richest dietary sources of choline in existence, and this matters more as we age and the brain needs all the support it can get. There is one important group of people who should approach this topic with a little extra care and individual guidance. If you have been diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, or if your doctor has told you that you have a specific cardiovascular condition, it is absolutely worth having a direct and honest conversation about how many eggs make sense for your particular situation. Research suggests that people with type 2 diabetes may respond to egg consumption somewhat differently than the general population, and in those cases, a personalized recommendation from someone who knows your full health picture is the right path forward. Everything shared in this video is meant to give you a helpful and well-grounded general understanding, but your own doctor and your own blood work always come first. Most people miss this completely, and it is perhaps the most important thing to understand. No single food exists in isolation. The overall pattern of what you eat across an entire day and across an entire week matters far more than any individual item on your plate. If you are eating 1 or 2 eggs daily alongside plenty of colorful vegetables, whole grains, legumes, fruit, and healthy fats like olive oil, avocado, and nuts, the evidence strongly and consistently supports that as a heart-protective, brain-supportive, and genuinely nourishing way to age. In that kind of dietary context, The egg is absolutely working in your favor, not against you. So here is the single most important thing to carry with you from everything we have walked through today. For most healthy adults over the age of 60, 1 to 2 eggs per day is not just safe. It may genuinely be one of the wisest, most nourishing, and most practical choices you can make for your muscles, your brain, your bones, your energy, and your overall sense of vitality. Do not let fears rooted in outdated science keep you away from a food that modern research has largely and consistently supported. Now, I would truly love to hear from you. Do you eat eggs regularly? Or have you been avoiding them because of something you heard or read years ago? Have you noticed any difference in how you feel when you include them in your diet? Share your experience in the comments below. Your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today. And if you found this helpful and you want more honest, simple health information made specifically with people like you in mind, please subscribe to this channel. We share new videos every week. No hype, no scare tactics, just clear and caring guidance for living well after 60.